Hey there, Rob Burtman here, founder, family budget expert, and today I want to help you figure out ways that you can pay back your debt even faster than before, and even if you feel like you've got so much, you're not sure how to get out of it. So stay tuned, because later in this video, I'm going to take you through an actual example that represents what I see with a lot of my clients and how we're going to take everything we're talking about here and apply it to help you pay back debt faster by demonstrating the actual numbers behind how it works. Now, let me start by saying that debt is a major problem for a lot of families. In fact, not only is it a financial problem, but it's often a relationship problem too. You know, they say that money fights and arguments are the #1 cause of marital stress and divorce. And that is true, but if we get even more specific than that, we know that most of these fights are around spending and debt. So getting out of debt will not only help you free up your finances so that you can accomplish your other goals, it also gets that weight lifted off your shoulders so that you can have a more thriving life, more thriving relationships without that stress. Plus, it's probably eating up a lot of your cash flow and you're having problems going month to month because of extra debt payments that are going to pay off money that you've already spent but haven't paid for yet. So today we want to go through 3 key ways that's going to help you pay back your debt faster. So let's start by talking about point number 1. All right, now point number 1 is that crossing the finish line is the most important thing with getting out of debt. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. So I run, and the longest distance I do is like a 10K. So it's about 6.25 miles, call it. Now, I have to pace myself in order to finish. If I try to get my fastest mile pace and started off sprinting to get that fastest first mile in, even if I had a big head start on people, chances are I'd run out of gas and I wouldn't even be able to finish it, the 10K, right? I wouldn't be able to finish the 10K. But if you pace yourself and you kind of know when you're on track and you kind of monitor your progress and you go mile by mile tracking your pace, you're more likely to end up where you want as a runner, right? So the same thing happens with debt. You need to pace yourself. You know, some people, they try to pull out all the stops when it comes to getting out of debt. They do things that are so uncomfortable and so out of the ordinary and make drastic changes. And what happens is they burn too hot, they sprint out of the gate, and they just lose momentum, lose focus, and they never cross the finish line. Because what good is a plan if you can't see it through? So what we want to do when we're talking about paying back debt faster is we want to push the levels of what's comfortable for you, but not get you to the point where you're so uncomfortable that it's 100% unsustainable and that you are never, ever going to finish. So that's point number 1, is pace yourself. It's okay to spend money on things that you enjoy that can help you rejuvenate as you're going on this debt repayment journey. Number 2, the most important factor in paying back debt faster is not what you think. It's not the debt snowball or the debt avalanche. It's not 0% balance transfers or debt consolidation to lower your interest rate. All that stuff helps. But believe it or not, the #1 factor, and I've run the numbers many times, and with all the clients I've worked with, I've run them through all those different scenarios of lowering interest rates, this strategy versus that strategy. But you know what the #1 strategy that works best is just finding that extra money at the end of the month to put towards the debt above what you're doing right now. That is the #1 way to accelerate your way to paying off the debt. Just want to take a quick sidebar here and show you why, whether you pick the debt snowball or the debt avalanche, it doesn't really change that much. And yeah, you know, doing a debt consolidation or zero balance transfers do actually help quite a bit. But the most important thing is finding that extra money left over at the end of the month. So let's demonstrate that with an example that this is sort of representative of common things I see with my clients. So let's just say they have this Home Depot card, $800 balance, Target card, $1,800 balance, Southwest Visa, $2,500, a Chase card at $8,000, and then a personal consolidation loan at $15K. Now, the store credit cards are usually going to have the higher interest rates, and the other credit cards are going to be lower, and then a consolidation loan would typically be an even lower interest rate than that. And here are what the minimum monthly payments look like for these cards. So now let's just say that there was no snowball. Let's just say, well, how long would it take to pay off each individual debt if once that was paid off, you didn't roll the payment to the next debt, you just spent it or put it somewhere else? As you can see here, the total cost and interest is about $10,000, and the very last debt is paid off in a little bit over 5 years, in 62 months. So this is, going to take a long time, right? But if we use the snowball method where this $50 goes away after we pay off the Home Depot card, and then we roll that 50 to this Target, so this Target card becomes 100, then when these two are paid off, you take that 100, then this becomes a 200 payment, and so forth. So if we use the snowball, The Snowball, what it does is it speeds up the time frame to get out of debt, and it also lowers the interest cost. So it shaves about, call it 8 months off of becoming debt-free, and also saves about $1,000 or so in getting debt-free just by rolling the minimum payment to the next debt. Now, this is the Snowball method. What you'll notice here is with the Avalanche method, the reason in this case it doesn't matter that much is because the higher interest rate debt has the lowest balance. So whether we choose the Avalanche or the Snowball, the order of paying back, whether it's lowest balance to highest balance in terms of the Snowball, or highest interest rate to lowest interest rate with the Avalanche, it's the same order. So there's no change there at all. Now, let's say, okay, let's really change this up and let's make these Southwest cards and Chase cards. Let's just say you do a zero balance transfer on those. Now, this is going to save a ton of interest. But if you do the debt Snowball, the order here doesn't change. But if you do the debt Avalanche, it's going to move this personal loan up to be number 3 in line and move these 0% balance transfers down to the bottom. So if we Snowball it, first of all, look how much the interest goes down just by getting that zero balance transfer. It cuts like $5,000 off of that, which is fantastic. So the last debt after you do the Snowball is paid off in 46 months, and the total interest paid is $4,050, and a lot of that comes from the reduction of interest rate. Now let's just say we do the Avalanche. So let's just say, well, let's be more efficient about it and pay off this $15,000 debt first in the Snowball, then pay off these last. Well, what you can see here, the total interest paid, it's about the same. Maybe save $28 over that amount of time, right? And it's still 46 months to pay off the debt. So the timing of paying back debt and the amount of interest you pay, whether you choose a Snowball or the Avalanche, has virtually no impact on that, okay? So now, what does coming up with extra money at the end of the month do? So let's put these interest rates back to 22 and 18%. And let's make sure that we Snowball it, except this time what we're going to do is we're going to find $500 extra, whether that comes from money that was going towards savings we're going to divert here, or whether that's just cutting our spending a little bit. We're going to find an extra $500 a month here to put towards the debt. So now, instead of $50 a month, we're putting $550 on this first one. And then this one becomes, when that's paid off, that rolls to the next one, and so forth. So $1,200 going to monthly debt. Here, look at this. The first debt, instead of being paid off in 20 months, gets paid off in 2 months. So you get to check that box in 2 months instead of a year and a half later. And then the whole thing gets paid off in 27 months, which is, if you remember with the 0% balance transfers and stuff, it was 46. So this saves like 20 months almost. And not only that, remember how the interest paid was $4,050 and $4,022? Well, even without doing any balance transfers or lowering interest rates, coming up with that extra money creates an even lower amount of interest paid on the debt. So this is what I mean, where it doesn't matter which one you pick or if you do the balance transfers. I mean, that stuff does matter, but not nearly as much as having extra money left over to put towards the debt. So this is why this is key to getting out of debt faster. Now, you might be saying, well, how do I come up with that? I feel like there isn't anything left over. Which leads us to point number 3, which is getting focused like a laser. And getting focused like a laser not only applies to how we pay back our debt or what order, but it also applies to where we're repurposing our monthly cash flow towards paying down the debt. So I would say first and foremost, getting focused like a laser. One of my clients once told me that she felt like she was filling up all these buckets, but none of them were getting full. And those are her words. And in my mind, that really encapsulates it. It's hard to feel like you're making progress if you're putting money towards college savings, retirement savings, paying off this debt, extra on the house, extra on the car, building up an emergency fund, and you never cross any of those finish lines. So what helps is when we figure out what is our number one priority. So when we're talking about debt even, we don't just want to focus on paying down debt as our priority. When we take the time to order our debt and have where we want to cross this one off our list first, then once that's done, we go to the next one. That laser-like focus helps us not only figure out where our money should go, but it also helps us build momentum and feel like progress and celebrate those wins, which we all need when we're paying down debt. So focus like a laser, order it in order. And again, it doesn't matter, honestly, if you pick the debt Snowball, the debt Avalanche. I have something called the debt Sprint, where basically you just say, which one am I going to pay off the soonest, and just kind of accelerate your way through that. None of that even matters. What matters more is having the extra money like we talked about. Just pick an order and get laser focused, okay? Now, the other part about getting laser focused is making sure that you are, instead of being spread all over the place, it's diverting all money towards that debt. So if you have dedicated savings going towards building up a savings account or emergency fund, or you have extra money sitting around in a bank account that's been built up, or in a brokerage account in a money market that's just sitting there, what we can do is take all that extra money that is just sitting there doing nothing, right, earning basically nothing, and use it to accelerate our way through paying off that debt. So not only are we diverting cash flow from different savings goals here and there towards the debt, but we're also going to take big chunks of money that are there and putting it towards one debt at a time. Okay? Here's the reason this works. You know, if you think about it, like if you've ever tried to paint a room in your house, and let's say you go into like Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or something like that, and you see all these swatches, all these paint colors on the wall, and you say, okay, let's pick a color to paint. It's nearly impossible. But if you have someone, or if you take the time to narrow it down to two choices of whether to use this color or that color, it's a lot easier to make the choice, right? So the way that this relates to debt is that if you want to find extra money, you've got to figure out what your top debt is that you're going to pay off first. And when you do that, it's, should we add this extra money to savings, or should we pay off this credit card? Should we go out to dinner tonight, or should we pay off this credit card? Not, well, it's an extra $50 if all of us go out to dinner, and well, we could go to this place or that place or this place or that place. No. It's either it could go to here or to pay off the debt. And so what we want to do is any money that's going towards savings, automated savings, any money that's sitting around in cash that maybe been building up over time alongside having the credit card debt, if we take this extra money and focus it on that top debt, and then the next debt down, and then the next debt down, having that plan in place is going to help us stay laser focused and get out of debt even faster. Now, like I said, crossing the finish line is most important. So if you feel like we just need a break, it's been a stressful day, got the kids all shuffling around, it's okay to spend that money. But at least you are choosing only between the two things. So to recap, the 3 ways to pay off debt faster. Number 1, crossing the finish line is the most important thing, okay? So pace yourself, make yourself a little uncomfortable, but not to the point where you're in an all-out sprint when you've got a 10K race ahead of you, okay? Number 2 is finding extra money is the most important thing. So don't spend all this time trying to figure out, getting the zero balance transfers or debt consolidation, what interest rates, looking at your credit score. Start by focusing on how you can find more money at the end of the month to put towards the debt, okay? And step 3 is getting focused like a laser, making yourself have a binary choice because your debt is in order of how you want to pay it back, and you've optimized everything that you can between checking and savings and money going here, money going there, to just focus on one debt at a time. Now, I promise you, if you use these techniques, you are going to pay off your debt even faster. You're going to escape that stressful feeling even faster, and your relationship is going to thrive. Your finances are going to thrive. That weight is going to be lifted off of your shoulders. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen overnight, but if you have a plan in place and you know how to get there and you pace yourself, you are going to get there. So if you're having trouble finding extra money at the end of the month, if you're having trouble putting together your debt repayment order, go to familybudgetexpert.com/help, and you can find ways to work together, whether it's scheduling a free starter consult, or maybe we need to work a little bit more and have some more formal engagement there. Either way, I'm here to help you in any way I can, because I want to see you pay back your debt faster than ever and get out of it, remove that financial stressor and that relationship stressor from your life so you can move on and enjoy your life. So reach out to me for help. I want to be here for you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.